Gentlemen, we've had 3 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. What have you thought?
Okay, fine. I'm going to go hit it up first. I freaking love it. I think they've done an excellent job. I actually found, like, initially I thought the villain was really annoying, the key villain in this. But in this third episode, Reva, exactly.
Yeah.
In this third episode, third sister, a.k.a. Reva, a.k.a. the child who got left behind in the Jedi Temple trying to escape for her life,
we found
her far more redeeming in this. Redeeming in the sense of, like, not a villain for the sake of evil, but a villain with the sake of purpose and sense.
Yeah.
I found it much more credible in this last episode. And so, but overall, like, leading into this show, I wasn't 100% sure how they were going to rectify the fact that this guy, how they were going to basically put 10 years of stuff into this show to justify what we saw at the beginning of A New Hope. But in 3 episodes, I've already seen exactly why everything ended up the way it did. Even his aging process makes sense. I'm like, you know what? I totally get it. Like,
he aged a lot. He's going to age a lot very quickly with Vader on his tail.
Oh my goodness, the level of stress that this man is dealing with on a day-to-day basis. I'm like, look, you don't moisturize, you deal with the 2 sons of Tatooine, you're dealing with nothing but harsh, heaviest levels of guilt. And on top of that, like, you're trying to just stay alive while literally everybody already knows you're alive. Like, at least in A New Hope, it felt like he had been hidden as a hermit for all these years. But what we're like getting is like, nah, man, everybody already knew you were alive. So you kind of just like running for your life in the same area. Like, Luke does not appreciate the life that was given that let him keep going. I feel like we need to retcon that properly so that Luke can appreciate Obi-Wan far more than is really happening.
Our man is on a beating. He's getting a beating at the moment, isn't he? Like, his back's against the wall. Agree, JP?
Yeah, like, as we were talking in a previous episode, it's one of the things that I'm not really excited about because the hype's just real, and expectations for this show were really high because it's Obi-Wan, and I think it delivered. It delivered on the hype. It's really good, and it's freaking intense.
Yeah,
it's intense.
So intense.
It's intense.
That's
say it is.
Say it with your chest. It is intense.
Oh, is it what?
And I'm happy that like, we do not need the Mandalorian. To make it awesome. Like, I was excited for Boba Fett because he's one of the coolest characters in Star Wars. But the show was, just made him a bit too soft for me for like a legendary bounty hunter. So with Obi-Wan, I wasn't like a big fan of Obi-Wan as a character, but this show has made him one of the best characters for me. Like, like Gift said, the struggles and the guilt that he faces gives his character more depth than what we've seen in the movies.
Right.
So in 3 episodes, we are given a deeper understanding of Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah.
Which is I think great.
It's retconning that I truly believe in. This is the retconning that I truly believe in. What about you, Jason?
I mean, everything's just been said. Like, I'm just thrilled with it. I'm thrilled with it. Just, I'm old school, right? When A New Hope came out, it was called Star Wars. I was 4
Right.
years old, right? Saw it on my 7th birthday on a VHS tape. There was no Star Wars universe at that stage. It just was Star Wars, the movie.
Right.
And that first couple of half-hour, 45 minutes of that movie is just kind of Luke, but also Obi-Wan kind of hanging out with the robots on Tatooine. And when I was watching that first episode, it was like watching the first couple episodes also of The Mandalorian. It just brought it all just 7-year-old Jason just came alive. Because it's just watching Ewan McGregor doing that thing, you know. I've been watching a lot of Better Call Saul recently, and how much that show shows character through just what you do. Just show them doing something. And every day, you know, Obi-Wan is there, he's getting his meat, he's giving it to his thing.
Yep.
He's then just going through the motions. We all know that you've got Reva and everyone hot on his trail. They're so like fired up, and he's just like the opposite. He's just crawled up into a hole, feeling guilty, feeling bad. But you just do that first step, and then that really great interaction with my man Joel Edgerton. Where he's just calls him out. You failed. You know, like he needs to be trained. Oh, like you did with
his dad, my brother. Like,
that was
like,
such a burn.
Whoa. And of course, when we heard him say that, just like you did with Anakin, we didn't know Anakin was just around the corner, right? As he was. And then just to see it all begin to unravel, of course, the big surprise was Leia, no sign of that in the trailers. No, I don't know if there's any rumors. I didn't hear anything. It just popped out. There she was.
I was the same way, because I looked up the trailers up to a certain point, but I did not expect them to do a Leia thing. One, mainly because of the fact that it just didn't seem like there was anything that would make the connection. But at the same time, it makes A New Hope, aka Star Wars, formerly known as the Star Wars, make sense as to why she was like, "Yo, can you give this message to Obi-Wan? Give this message, Obi-Wan, you're our only hope." Like, this is the person who's created that history, and especially with that 10-year-old girl. And we know that this is even regardless of how smart they are, it's formative enough years where they can remember in glimpses, but the details are always going to be more rose-colored glass than it would be in reality. So, like, to be able to have that element where she has this history with him early on, and then, you know, it proceeds on from there, again, it's such a difficult place for them to be, because there's so many caps that you have with a show unlike The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian and Boba Fett, you really did have free reign because they're disconnected from the storyline for the most part. But with this, it's like, yo, you have legitimate key demarcations that you have to step aside. Like, and to put this Leia and the Organa story in this way, it actually makes me want to go back. Like, I feel like when this is done, I'm going to want to go back and go watch A New Hope again, or A New Hope again, and see the destruction of Alderaan, and it actually hits.
I know. That's what you talk about retconning. You called it very early when we were looking at these trailers, how a lot of these Star Wars series is retconning and saving. And that's the other half of what I say. Not only does it really bring out the inner 7-year-old in me that fell in love with Star Wars, the first movie, but it also goes a long way at redeeming the 3 movies that I really, really don't like, which is the prequels. Like,
I was going to say
the way it did that. Off you go.
No, I'm sorry. I'll say this real quick. Let me tell you how this is already making me want to go back and watch the prequels, and of course Clone Wars, but really the prequels, for the development of Obi-Wan's character on it. Not Anakin, but that character development. I'm sorry. Continue with what you were saying.
Or just what you say. Just the fact that it showed you that in the first episode, that like 5 minutes solid puts us right in the place with all those clips from the first 3 movies, right? And that was really, really helpful. Like, sometimes you just do it as a refresher, but that really puts you in the space, at least of the story. And it does give it does kind of let you appreciate that for all of George's George Lucas's failings as a cinematic storyteller, at least he had the broad strokes. And when you put those broad strokes together in a 5-minute thing, yeah, that's compelling. It was a compelling story that really does allow this kind of thing to happen, so that when Vader turns up, you know, that's how good was that scene in that last episode where Obi-Wan is in that house with that chick and Leia, and he senses Anakin
immediately.
And then he's just like shit scared, right? He's just turned white.
Yeah.
And some people have said, oh, you know, watch people react to the video. They say, oh, he should have just jumped into that hole. He should have just disappeared. No. The history, the emotion, he was compelled. He had to see what had become of Anakin. He had to see what was this beast. And my whole thing is that whole fight scene, it was just so one-sided, because I reckon half the time Obi-Wan was just in a state of shock. Right. There's lots of reasons he didn't kind of step up for that fight. Number one is he doesn't use the Force hardly at all anymore, and he's you know, Darth Vader's kind of ripping through everyone. He's kept his sharp, but at the same, so he's not sharp. But at the same time, is here's all these 3 movies. And also these first 2 episodes, particularly when you see the look on Obi-Wan's face at the end of the last one, it's just all just caving in on him, and he can barely hold that lightsaber without going, what the hell? Like, what the hell? And it's just, that was so powerful. That was, and I know the other people have said, oh, it should have come later in the series. Darth Vader comes when Darth Vader wants to come, right? He's not going to muck around. He's right.
You know what the thing is? They've done whatever you want to say about Disney. They may pacify a lot of things, but there's one thing that Disney has done, I think, better than Fox did whenever they had this. Darth Vader is truly terrifying in the last Disney created movies that he's been featured in. Like, obviously, Rogue one of easily the best. I'm not going to say Star Wars clips. One of the best scenes in movie actions, particularly ever. One of the best entrances that you could have, reveals that you could have. But in this one, the usage of the Force and how dynamically destructive it can be, to be able to have basically these space wizards running free with all this anger and fear, makes now the impact of like the Empire and the Sith a little bit more genuine. I mean, we've always known the Sith always can be very, very scary and angry, but like it's been the loose usage. Like everybody seems to have Force choke. Like remember when it was just like it seemed like if Force choke was just that one thing that Vader had, and even in A New Hope, it felt like what's his name that Peter North played, that guy who was supposed to be his commander. It seemed like Darth Vader was still like subservient and like couldn't break these people. But in this, like you're just like, dude, if Darth Vader is the Mike Tyson in this situation. Like that's the pit bull that's ready to go, and everybody else is just merely clones of who he ends up being, who he is.
That entrance of Vader in that mining town where he's just like dragging
pulling people out the house.
And like just breaking people's necks and just
freaking
terrifying.
It goes back to also, but it happens in the first episode. He turns up in the first sequence. He bursts through the door. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's some baddies that hide in the shadows. He's never hide. Like he comes out of the shadows. He's like, no one can beat me here. Oh God! And so this idea that he's going to just hang back for the final episode. No, he knows where Kenobi is. He's going for the jugular. Literally, he goes for the jugular every time. And that was a pure. To me, there's so much pure Star Wars about these 3 episodes.
And that's the ironic part. Look, I'm going to say this. I'm not a big fan of Kathleen Kennedy. I don't think she's been great when it comes to organizing. But with Jon Favreau and what's his name,
Filoni,
and James Filoni, like they have truly created the vision that has made Star Wars feel more real. And I will say this, I feel like it has felt more real than most, outside of Empire Strikes Back, most of the original even Star Wars series. I feel it's been more grounded. It's felt more realistic. It actually has felt like there is a sense of scale while also really still being focused again on Tatooine. Like for some outskirt, planet, this planet seems to be the key component for everything.
Yeah.
Boba Fett's there, Mandalorian's there, Luke is there, Darth Vader's there, freaking Rey from the last three is from Tatooine. Like, yo, this is not an outskirt. This is a clearly popular sports planet.
Yeah, this is the hub.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe!
Die. Oh, die.